and welcome to Subscribe to Reviews. This is a set of videos that will be reviewing TV shows that we are currently watching and currently enjoying. I am joined by my friends, Jay Holland and Wallace right here.
What's up?
This week we'll be talking about The Boys. And the reason why we're talking about The Boys, it's currently in its mid-season, 4 episodes out of 8, and it releases weekly on Amazon. What's fun about it, it's a satirical breakdown of the superhero genre, very mature content, but not over the top. It's just very lightly. You have a lot of gory stuff. It's something that appeals to me very much. I'm a fan of Punisher Max, and the comic was made by the same creator. So when they end up killing people, they tend to go over the top, like they do here. And Amazon could get away with something like that right now. And the reason why season 1 was released all binged, and now they're releasing it weekly. And it's something I do like about the show, that they're changing it weekly, because we get to talk about it, we get to anticipate the next episode, and it just brings the fan base a little closer. A lot of people have been review bombing it on Amazon that's seen season 1 because of the change, but I kind of like it. Are you guys binge watchers or weekly?
Yeah, I just got into the show like 2 weeks ago. I heard about it when it first came out, and then I watched one episode, and it was like I had no prior knowledge of like the backstory other than it was a comic. So when I watched the first episode and I saw like the girl get hit by A-Train, I'm like, yo, this is too gory. So I like, what am I watching? I just stopped, and then I watched another show called Hunters, which was just as gory as The Boys. And I really enjoyed the story of Hunter, so I was like, let me go back and give The Boys another shot. So I ended up becoming a huge fan. I binge watched season 1, and now I'm watching the shows weekly, like you said. So yeah, a new fan.
I'm not really a binge watcher. I like when shows are like staggered. Like I remember when Lost came out, and the episodes were staggered, so that was really appealing to me because you have something to look forward to. Let Netflix really spoil a lot of people nowadays with just throwing everything up the whole season, and then you finish it in like a week or 2 days or even 1 day, and then you have nothing to watch for like 6 months to a year until new content comes out. But I'm a big fan of it. I really enjoyed season 1, and looking at season 2 right now, it's pretty good. So definitely hyped.
I do like when you binge watch shows, because then you like feel like, I don't know, when I watch shows sometimes I feel like I'm in that universe. So like with Breaking Bad, for example, like when I first started binge watching that, like I felt like one of the characters in the show. Like I was just in it. Like I didn't make any plans that week, and it was just that. And that's the same thing we have with The Boys, like just watching The Boys straight through. So it's a great show.
Yeah, that happened to me with Umbrella Academy season 2.
Same. See?
Where I started it and I could not stop it. I didn't eat anything. I just kept watching.
No spoilers.
I can't stop. Yeah. We
We
won't talk about that. We can talk
Academy
about
too.
Umbrella Academy.
I'll catch up. I'll watch it this weekend.
So you're missing out.
I know. I got hooked on season 1, but I haven't had time to watch season 2. But I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I'll catch up.
Yeah.
Season 2 was that's a whole nother episode. That's just we're talking about.
Yeah.
Man.
And I get the weekly thing because Game of Thrones was a weekly show, and that bloomed a lot of fan theories while it was happening, but it could also hurt it at the same time, because if someone tries to swerve away from those fan theories just so the audience is surprised, then it could end up really badly. And with The Boys, to get back on The Boys, there's a big twist that's known out there, but I don't want to spoil for you guys. But I think they know that everyone knows that twist already, so they might not even do it. So I'm excited to see.
I think I know what you mean. I did dabble in the comic books. I didn't read them straight through, But I did read, I think, the last arc or two, and I know what twist you're talking about. I'm pretty sure, but I don't think they're gonna do it either. It would be weird to see how they're gonna do it because I haven't built up anything about it yet. But I would freak out if it was. Like, I'd be happy about it.
Yeah, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, and I'm not here for the spoilers.
All right,
right.
we won't say anything.
For those who haven't watched season 1, how it all starts is there's a character called Huey, and he's talking to his girlfriend. They're having boyfriend and girlfriend banter, and she's telling him that he doesn't take a lot of risk, or he's very like slow with her, and then she's just encouraging him to get out of his shell a little more. And then when she finally convinced him, they're holding hands, and she's in the street. She's a step off the street, and as Edwards mentioned, a speedster hero runs right through her, and mostly that's left of her is her hands in Huey's hands. And I never thought that a speedster, when they're running, if they run into someone, how that would happen, how would that play out? Yeah, someone probably would explode if something like that happened.
Yeah, the amount of force it would take, that's like, in the fact that he was running for a particular reason, and he probably picked up even more speed, that he just didn't see this girl, and then gone.
The fact that it's like a literal hit and run is like
that drew me in immediately. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the whole VOT company comes to pay, and Huey later on has to sign an NDA, so he doesn't tell anyone. He can't complain about what happened after he gets paid, and he's not married to her, so they don't. So VOT doesn't need to pay them, but they want to protect the image because the guy that A-Train is part of the Seven. The Seven is basically the almost very similar to the Justice League, but they're the highest heroes in this universe.
And that's what I like about it, is it adds that dimension of realism. When you look at like Justice League or the Avengers, which I'm pretty sure if you go back to like Avengers, the first Avengers movie, where like the big battle in the city, where like I'm pretty sure it would have been casualties, from that, like Iron Man just hitting a repulsor and shooting like a bystander by accident. So like it adds like the politics and the government and the realism to it, where like not everyone in the real world would like superheroes, and not all superheroes are like good guys. So
yeah, I agree with Jay. Like, it brought in that, like, Avengers kind of waited a while till they got to Age of Ultron, and then when they had Civil War, the Sokovia Accords happened, and the superheroes were held accountable for their actions. But in this show, in The Boys, it seems like they're not really held accountable. In fact, the VOT hides a lot of the things that these superheroes do because they don't want to tarnish the reputation that they have. So they pay people off, and Huey was a main example of this in the beginning because his father actually tried to coerce him into keeping the money, but Huey, it didn't really sit well with him. So he kept pursuing more ramifications until he met Billy Butcher.
And yeah, he meets Billy Butcher after the first meeting of them trying to give money to him because Huey couldn't take the money right away. And his father told him to take the money, but he didn't. And to get over something like that is pretty hard. But when he does meet Butcher, Butcher tries to explain to him to take the money, but go to VOT and tell VOT that he wants an apology from A-Train personally, and also to plant a bug when he does go into VOT. And Huey does do this, and when he does, he drops the chip onto the floor, and then no one sees it, or it seems like no one sees it, and then he picks it back up and puts it under the table because they take him to the room where the Seven meet every day, so he can meet A-Train. For some reason, I don't know why they didn't have him on the first floor or something in a more private room, but this is where the slippery slope starts going down, because when he did drop the thing, the invisible guy saw him.
Translucent, yeah, he saw him. Yeah,
Translucent.
so that worked into the episode pretty well. I like the way the setup was, like having them in that little ivory tower, because Vought is pretty high, but even still, like as you see like later on in the show, there's levels to Vought, and I like that facet of the show a lot, with corporations and their motives, and the fact that these superpowered beings are protected by them, but when we get into things a little later, we'll see that they're not really the top dogs.
Yeah, I think they also like the writers probably booked him into that room to kind of play up the fact that, as we see later on throughout the show, like Huey's a big fan of the Seven. So like he has the posters of A Train on his wall. So like I think it was the play up, hey, like you're coming to the actual headquarters of the Seven. We're gonna allow you to actually meet A Train, who's your hero icon, even though what happened. But we're actually even gonna let you meet him in the headquarters where everything goes down. And so I think it was pretty much like they used that to kind of play up like the fact that Huey was a fan of the Seven, and this moment should be a big deal for him.
Yeah, I see. They also showed Translucent. They showed him on Jimmy Fallon, and they should play up that they're not only just superheroes, that they're treated like celebrities. Yeah. After that whole ordeal, when he comes back, he comes back to Butcher. He thinks he done a good job, and then Butcher dumps him back at his old job, and he said, "You're done. That's all I needed you to do was to plant the bug." And Huey's like shocked, and then he just eventually goes back to work. But later, Translucent comes into the shop and starts to try to interrogate him, because he saw him drop the chip, because Translucent in this show, he's a little bit of a pervert. He was hiding in the girls' bathroom, and they don't hide when he uninvincible himself, and you see fruit, full frontal nudity of a Translucent, and they haven't showed any women full frontally nude, which is crazy, and it was a big complaint about Game of Thrones. So I see that they're trying to make the playing field more even. But when he does try to get him, Butcher drives right into the shop and hits Translucent, and you see them fighting. And another example of why these superheroes are just regular guys with superpowers, that they don't have any fighting experience. And Butcher spits blood on him when he starts losing, so you can see where he is. And then Translucent starts losing the fight. And then Huey, because he's a smart guy, and a big fan of Translucent, he knows that his skin is made by a metal alloy that makes his skin invisible. So he shocks him to knock him out.
Yeah, the choreography in the show and the scenes and everything are like really, really well done, and they're well thought out too. The cinematography is awesome. And that gritty, like grounded feel to it, like George said, when Butcher spits on him to see where he is, and then Huey just uses his brain because he's a big fan of the Seven, like he was established earlier. So he knows like their weaknesses, sort of like kind of like Batman when Batman was preparing to take on the Justice League if anything happened. Huey's kind of that. He was kind of in that role, which is great because Billy's going to use him to his advantage in that way.
Yeah, like I'm a really big fan of the detail in the show. Like you said, the blood, that's just like smart. I'm like, okay, how is he actually gonna see him? And then I saw it spit the blood. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, it was like intense because, like I said, like I'm just watching this show and really just getting into it. And this is all happening in the first season.
Dang,
but Butcher's character is crazy.
He's my favorite character thus far. Like out of everyone, he's like driven. So he's on a mission. In the beginning, you don't know what the mission is, but when you figure out what it is, you kind of appreciate like what he's doing. But the way he's doing is just he doesn't care what happens or who gets in the way, and it doesn't matter. And the fact that he's like really paranoid about supers and he doesn't trust them, and he'll end a super in a minute, so it don't matter. But his bluntness and his directness is like really appealing to me because I think it's like I like to be straightforward. But I think he's my favorite character so far, and the way he manipulates Huey was kind of like dark in a way because then you don't know who to trust in the beginning. Like Billy seems like he's helping, but there's an ulterior motive that Huey's like kind of like the gears are turning. Like, wait a second, why did he want this, and that done? What is he getting out of it, and what am I going to get out of it? So it seems like there's going to be like a lot of web of shadows things going on.
Yeah, I think it's similar to like the what's it called, the yin and the yang theory, where it's like, you know, you could be a good guy, but you're a villain in someone else's story. And I think that's what Huey is at that point, because, you know, Carl Urban, the actor who plays Billy, does such a great job. And you kind of, like you said, you don't really know what his motives are until we start to see the story progress. And you see how he's manipulating Huey. And, you know, then you start to question, well, you know, are the seven all bad guys? Because not all of them are these horrible people. And, you know, I think there's a lot of like, you know, character development going on. So like, I think there's room for some of those characters to actually cross over and be like legit good guys and not just, you know, jerks. I know there's characters we haven't talked about yet from the seven, and I assume we're probably going that direction soon. So I don't want to like, you know, jump the gun,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we could talk about, and we'll have someone joining us. Like, we could talk about every episode and everything, but
Lee,
yeah,
Lee,
Philippe. Oh yeah, now now joining us is Philippe.
Yo, what up?
Another person they meet. We're gonna talk about the boys, the rest of the boys, and a little favorite of mine is Frenchie, and I like Frenchie. He's one of like, he's like, it seems like he's like a chemist. He knows how to make certain weapons to probably hurt heroes. That's the first guy that Huey's introduced to by Butcher, and the way they show that he's an expert of weapon making and stuff like that is that he makes a bullet that's supposed to penetrate Translucent, because they need to kill Translucent because he sees their face, because Translucent also seen that Huey planted the bug, and he took the bug with him back to the store to show Huey that. But Frenchie, that they go through almost a couple of days with Translucent locked up after they knocked him out with the wires, and Frenchie finds out that he has to put a bomb inside Translucent, and you think he would put it, like, make him eat it down after, because they knock him out with a shocking him again, but apparently they put it up his ass.
So yeah, like they had like this other kind of like standing character that they had to change, and like that character also had something weird about like his butt.
Okay.
But he also had something that like mirrored that same thing. And it was his first kill, because like that, they make a big deal about Huey killing, like, because he's like a civilian. He's, you know, they try to make the boys like this almost like, you know, real like kind of like clandestine organization, almost like spies in a sense. And then you know, Huey killing someone is kind of like against his morals, and doesn't really. And it takes some time to get accustomed to that, like the real harsh world that the heroes live in.
Yeah, and like Edward said, he admired these. He has a bunch of toys of them in his room, so he had to kill one of his heroes, one of the seven. So I'm sure that took another effect on him too. And they couldn't kill him as soon as they put the Butcher was gonna do it, but the reason why Butcher didn't do it is Homelander was flying around their area.
Yeah, that was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, because each hero has a chip in their head, and even though they try to Frenchie, he put he tried to block it off the room with the aluminum foil, but there ended up being a crack in the aluminum foil, so I picked it up for a second, but they didn't know exactly what apartment was. So Homelander's flying around everywhere, and they try to go to Frenchie and Butcher. They leave the little fat food place, and they try to leave and distract them, and then they had to blow up one of Frenchie's many hideouts. while they're doing that, and they had to drive away, so Homelander sees that they were driving away. Huey, in the meantime, tries to let Translucent go. Then he realized that he can't let him go, and then he just kills himself. And that starts Huey's whole thing. And when I think that's what makes him decide to go into the park and just like let his mind loose, and that's where he meets Starlight. So that's going to be another thing, but we'll introduce another member of the boys, Mother's Milk, which I do like as well. Yeah, what do you guys think of Mother's Milk?
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's cool. I like his character development, like going like throughout the series. Like he has his daughter and his wife, and that because Billy, you find out Billy's backstory, but most of the boys don't really have anyone like to fall back on. Huey lost his girlfriend. Frenchie's just an anomaly. He doesn't really have anybody. But Mother's Milk has an established family, and as things start going down, you really see how that affects him as a character. I think he has great development. He's also really funny too. His character.
His wife is annoying. I'm just gonna be blunt and say it. Like when she was like, "Oh, I never want to see you again." I'm like, he's literally doing this so the world can be safe, and you're acting stupid. Like, his wife is annoying, and Frenchie, I like the chemistry between Mother's Milk and Frenchie. Not to jump to Frenchie, but just how Mother's Milk has the family aspect, and Frenchie was like, well, why you tell your wife you love her when you can't really be honest with her about what you're really doing? And he was telling Frenchie like, you just don't understand it just yet, and Frenchie he was just like, whatever. So it's kind of like you see that they have similar stories, similar backgrounds, but they are two different people, and I just like seeing that between characters. And Frenchie's character, Mother's Milk character is a pretty cool character. It's interesting.
Yeah, I like the clashing of their ideas that they do have a lot of banter about, and then how they hate each other when they first see each other. Yeah. Because Butcher doesn't tell them that they're working together because that's I'll work with you unless you don't include that guy, and then.
But Frenchie be messing up, man.
Frenchie be
dropping the ball.
Yeah, Frenchie be messing up. Yeah. So I guess we'll skip to that. The reason why Frenchie messes up is the lady, Kimiko, which is
female. It was wild when they first introduced her, man. I don't know what.
Pretty gruesome. I was kind of curious how they're gonna put her power, because in the comics they can kind of be free with how much blood they draw, how much gore they draw. But I was kind of curious how they're going to do it with the Amazon series, and they did a good job.
Kimiko is introduced, they see her locked up when they're trying to pursue a vat of the Vought fluid that gives superheroes powers, because they find out that superheroes aren't born with these powers, and the Vought industry tells tells America that they're born this way, God chose them, stuff like that. So they're trying to get proof to put it out there. And she's locked up, and Frenchie, they're about to leave, but Frenchie looks at her and unlocks the cage, which is something I thought he did right. If you see a prisoner, you want to let them out sometimes. But she just rips people apart with her bare hands, and it's pretty crazy. So it was a fuck up. And then you see her; she doesn't speak. And you find out later in season 1 that she actually is uses sign language, to speak. And we'll see how she communicates with the boys. She still hasn't really communicated with the boys yet, and even in season 2. And that's it for the boys so far, right? There's no other. But so we can move on to the 7. So we talked about Translucent, and he's gone already. He's removed from the equation. We'll talk about A-Train since we talked about him so much. And he's like the Flash, but also like an athlete, a spoiled athlete that's kind of losing his grip. He's kind of slowing down. There's another speedster that's actually starting to catch up to his speed, because he's known as Shockwave. He's known as the fastest guy in the world. What do you guys think of A-Train?
I thought his character was cool. He's arrogant. The way we were introduced to him, it wasn't really fair to his character development in the beginning. I guess his characterization. We saw him run through Huey's girlfriend, and we're like, oh wow, what a dick. And then we eventually see like, oh, he's arrogant because he's been given like all these accolades. And again, like most of the people in the Seven are treated like celebrities that we mentioned earlier. But A-Train, for example, lets it all go to his head. And eventually he does like a race with Shockwave to see who's the fastest. And I think the A-Train won that one, didn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then he got the sneaker deal, and his sneakers was popping, and he was just living on cloud nine. But in his character development, then you found out what he's doing on the low with Compound V, and then you see that he has a little girlfriend. I think her name was Popclaw.
Popcorn, yeah.
Popclaw. So you see that the dynamic between the two of them. But as a character, I like him. I know he's he's a piece of shit and he's done mess up things, but I like him.
Yeah, I don't think you're like, you're not like supposed to like sympathize with him in a way, because like they're trying to make all the heroes seem arrogant to give you like a reason to hate them, like the boys hate them. So I kind of understand, but I still like, I still enjoy his character because at the end of the day, like it just feels like he's just trying to. He doesn't feel as bad as like the Homelander. The Homelander seems like he doesn't care about anybody. But like A-Train, at least sometimes like it feels like he cares about certain things. Like he does have a conscience to a certain extent, but not as much as the rest of the guys. So he's not as bad as everyone else, but he's not great.
During the race, you get introduced to his brother, which is someone apparently that helped supported him during the whole his career getting up to the Seven. It seemed like, and A-Train is losing it a little bit, and he uses Compound V to win that race. And his brother starts to notice him a couple of days after the race that he's like acting a little bit like a junkie. And you find out that when he took Compound V when he ran through Huey's girlfriend, and he realized that it's just like a drug for any other normal person, that it can make them not think clearly. And Popclaw said, told them to be careful. Popclaw's like she used to be on top of the game, but I think as she got older, Vought probably let her go. So and they have to keep their relationship secret too. So no one knows about Popclaw. And when he wins the race, they ask him, "Oh, you're gonna celebrate with any girl tonight?" He's like, "Nope," because he has to keep that persona up. He's like, "Nope, no."
Like, I ain't got no girl.
Yeah, I ain't got no girl.
So she was mad.
You know me, I'm out here.
Yeah. So, but you see that A-Train. Also, you learn A-Train that he came from a poor neighborhood, and that's why he needs to act like this, or he feels like he needs to act like this in a conversation with Starlight. So then I start sympathizing with him a little more, and then I'm like, ugh. Which is good. I like character development where they reveal more about the character, so it gets me a little harder to vote for each side. But I mean, at the end of the day, I still can't forgive him for running through someone like that. So, especially when I found out he was on a drug. We'll move on to the next hero. We'll talk about Starlight, since I mentioned her a couple of times already. What do you guys like about Starlight?
I like how they like capture that like Midwest vibe of her. Like she's supposed to be like this real like, super polite, super kind of like white bread type of character. And like I feel like the girl that plays her, like she nailed that in the beginning. And then eventually you start to like kind of see her change, which is cool.
Yeah.
Into season 2. So I'm excited to see how they keep going with that development, and how if they make any changes from like the comic. I'm waiting to see what they do.
Yeah, like she reminded me a lot of like Towers and Tiaras, where the moms basically like play up their kids and make them train and build them up to like be these beauty pageant winners and things like that. And Starlight was being trained to be a superhero basically by her mother, telling her like, hey, you're great. You were born this way. You had a gift from God. And she was really like religious. She was basically built up training every morning, and eventually she was invited into the Seven. And then some things happened along the way when she made it to the big time.
Yeah, she was introduced to the real world when country girl, going into the big city, joining something she dreamed of being a part of her whole life. And when she gets into the Seven, she on her first day, as soon as she meets the first member, a very the deep exposes himself to her and say, if you really want to join the Seven, you know what to do. And it's a very Me Too movement thing, which was in the comics to a great extent from what I saw. But I don't think which is perfect writing. They made it a little more subtle, and amongst this Me Too movement, it was perfect for. What do you think of Starlight?
I love Starlight. Starlight is just the cutest little thing. Yeah, I love Starlight. Starlight can do no wrong. I mean, she's not perfect. She comes with flaws or whatever, but her character is interesting. How like her mom, knew that she wasn't born like that and still lied to her and made her do all these contests and participate in these religion things. And the part where like Starlight meets the Deep, and like I said before, like I never read the comic. So when she met the Deep and he was like, you got to do this to get down with the Seven. And then how the director, like they just cut to like a different scene. So like it's up to your imagination to guess what happened. So I'm like, oh no, they wouldn't go that direction. Like, that's insane. And they do, and they take it there. And that's what's so interesting about this show is it's unpredictable.
And we'll go back there because like that breaks her illusion of the Seven. Or wait to transition to another character part of the Seven. She tries to confide in Maeve, which is like the Wonder Woman-ish of the Seven. And at the time, Maeve was dealing with her own stuff that she didn't even think. She didn't want to help out Starlight. So Maeve, when we meet her first, she's like very like I thought she would be like she's definitely like the old representing like the 30 like the 30-year-olds of women, and she like very based on Wonder Woman, and then you find out that she's a lesbian, which is something that people really liked about Wonder Woman, that she's very friendly to that, and them exploring that is something I liked about her. What do you guys think about Maeve?
She gives me like Xena / Wonder Woman vibes. Like it's like a cross between the both of them. Like her character is really interesting. I didn't expect for her to be lesbian, which all the signs were there, so I should have gone and expected it, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, like she's definitely an interesting character. I like the part where she's on the airplane and it's her and Homelander, and she's trying to save this little girl. Like they know they can't save everybody, and she's like, well, you can at least save this little girl. And then she has to kind of, lie and live with the fact that they didn't save this little girl, and she can't tell the public that, they're responsible for their death. And she's just so loyal to Homelander. And, that really says a lot about her character, for better or worse. But I really respect her I don't even know the word I'm looking for. I just respect her character, like the loyalty that she has with the Oath of the Seven.
Yeah, she's like probably my least favorite. I don't see her as having loyalty to the Homelander, as more as like fear. She's just like afraid, and she's like so accustomed to like her life as a superhero. She has certain perks, and I feel like she's afraid of like losing that if she were to tell the truth. So she goes along with it and tries to ride it as long as she can. I'm curious to see how long it's going to take for her, because I think she's going to break at one point, like because she's kind of like holding a line in her head. So eventually she's going to have enough. She's going to be like, fuck the Homelander, forget him, and I'm going to go against what he's doing no matter what. So that's probably where I think how she's going to develop, because right now she's like, to me, she's like a coward. But I think she's going to come back and she's going to have like, some courageous moments.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Philippe. She's like my least favorite character for those reasons. She has like this facade of being like Wonder Woman and Xena, like strong, but she's like caving in the Homelander, and justifiably so, because he could have just dropped her or blew her up with the plane as well. But I definitely don't. I think she has a big character development coming up soon in the new season, but I definitely just think she's not like my favorite out of the seven.
Listen, when they have that, if she like turns on Homelander, he is going to mop the floor with her. And as graphic as this show is, he might literally just mop the floor with her. Like, it's gonna be insane.
Yeah, nah. there's a scene in the comic that's mad funny. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but her character, I don't think they showed her having a sword in the series, but she's supposed to have a sword, and then she like attacks the Homelander with the sword, and he's like, this is a fake sword. And he like snaps it and like keeps it moving.
No. See, yeah, I'm waiting for that. That's
so I hope they give her something better.
Yeah, I feel like they're not as. Yeah, we'll see. And also, they also revealed that they had a relationship, Homelander and Maeve. So there's a lot of history there too. So she's very scared that because she's lesbian, Homelander might do something. So she tries to hide it from him, and he does find out about it eventually. So, and I guess we'll talk about Homelander, right? Oh no, we're missing someone actually. Before we talk about Homelander, we'll talk about the Batman-ish kind of character called Black Noir. Black Noir. So you don't see his face. He doesn't barely talks, but Black Noir he's a little funny because he's just like, and then it's guys that have a full getup are either one of those guys that die right away or those super cool characters. So Black Noir, you don't know too much of him right now, or at least I don't from watching the show right now. But what do you guys think of Black?
He's like super mysterious currently. I like his costume design. Like in the comic book, it just looked like he was wearing like a bodysuit that was like one of those skin tight bodysuits. But this one, they kind of put like some armor pieces on it. They make him look way more menacing. He looks a lot cooler than he did in the comic book. But I'm curious to see what they do. Like he has that one funny scene where like he goes to like the IT girl. He's like, he tells her to like throw her donut away, and he just silently holds the trash can in front of her. So he's got like these funny ass moments. So hopefully he has more of those. But then like he's gonna have a more sinister side. I hope they show that.
Yeah, he's one of my top characters too. Just for the fact that he's really mysterious. But then a little later in the episode when he meets the female, they have they duke it out a little bit, and then you realize like, oh wait, he's not just some regular old. Super. He's got some skills. He got some powers. He's been trained. And speaking to the point where Translucent wasn't trained for fighting and combat, Black Noir was. So that adds to the mystery and also the hype behind him reaching out into what's going to be coming up soon. Hopefully with the twist with him, if they're going to do it or not. But I hope they do. But I'm really interested in seeing where his character development goes. I feel like they're kind of like pushing him a little more in the new season.
Yeah, to me, he's just like a cross between like Batman and Snake from G.I. Joe, but he's not one of my favorite characters, but I find him funny. So just it's interesting.
Oh, he does look like Snake from G.I. Joe. You're right. He looks just like that.
Yeah, I like the Xena reference from Maeve too. Yeah, you also see how much of a better fighter he is. The lady and A-Train do fight, and the lady beats him, beats A-Train basically. Well, she gets the upper hand on him, but when she tries to fight Black Noir, she doesn't get any good damage on him. So it just shows that how much of a different level that he is. So Homelander, evil Superman. You can always do a good story with evil Superman, and when you make him arrogant because he's American, that's what you have in Homelander, and there's examples of it when he says, I think if you ask someone, a foreigner, who Homelander is, he said, they'll say it in perfect American, not English. He said American. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm scared of him every time he's on the screen. I watch a lot of Netflix show from like the Daredevil where people just explode, die, and I'm always right next to that 10-second skip button because I don't want just a random ass pop to happen when he's around or him to kill someone in a crazy way. So it's just he scares me. And when you have someone that strong just right next to you, could do anything at any time, it's scary.
Yeah, he knows what he's capable of too, and the way he manipulates people is again through fear and everything like that. But he's not stupid. He's like really intelligent, and he uses his platform to his advantage. Like when, for example, Vought was really preying on the Christians a lot, in the first season, and using like Homelander's America vibe motif to his advantage and to their advantage to trick the Christians into buying product and again vault the company. So at the end of the day, the money's where the power is. So Homelander knows what he's capable of, but he's a lot more complex and deeper than most people would think.
I really like his character because like they make him seem super deranged, like, but they do it kind of subtly, like slowly but surely as the season goes on. Like I think they build up like the fear that you have of him, and then as soon as sort of like in the second season now, as soon as he walks on the screen, like you kind of like you get tense because you know he's about to. He could like snap any minute. He's like so powerful. He could kill anybody in the show that he wants. So it's really interesting. I hope that they keep going. Like I don't know who the actor is, but he's nailing this role. Like he definitely read the comic.
Yeah, it's Anthony Starr is the actor.
Yeah, and
yeah, he's pretty much just like Superman. What he did to Butcher's wife is crazy, and I really haven't seen that done before, like villains. So, like he's probably one of my favorite villains.
Yeah, and that's what gives Butcher all his reasoning to do anything to any soup that Homelander raped his wife, but which we will say well because we're trying to catch up to season 2 is which is revealed in season 1, but he may have killed her after to hide it up. And you eventually find out that that's not the fact. That at the end of season 1, as the cliffhanger, Homelander brings Butcher to his wife. And she has a son with Homelander. And she was still raped, but they tried to hide the baby from Homelander. And yeah, and the Homelander gets so upset that the person that he was having some kind of weird mother love interest with from the Vought Corporation. Stillwell, yeah. He ends up killing her instead of by lasering her face.
Extremely graphic. That was the biggest I really enjoyed that cliffhanger. It made me a little upset because then I had to wait till the next season to see what happened next. But I like the direction it went in because Billy went to Stillwell's house with the intention of getting Homelander and trying to kill him. He didn't even know how he was going to kill him, but he had C4 bomb, thinking that would help. But it didn't work out that well for him. And then the big twist was he went through all this trouble and he finds out that his wife is alive, but she has a kid. So that with Homelander. So that was like a big blow to him, mentally.
He doesn't even get to talk to her in that season. Where you find out in season 2 that Homelander knocks her out and puts him in the middle of nowhere, and then shows that sets him up to kill that lady is all over the news. So he has to be on the run now as a terrorist, basically. And they're in season 2. Now Vought is like a pharmaceutical company, and they're trying to get a contract from the military, and by the end of season 1 they finally get it kind of, and they find out that there's super terrorists, and it's also revealed in season 1 that Homelander was telling A-Train to spread Compound V to all around the world, so there's villains, so they could get the contract basically. And they had to replace Translucent with a character called Stormfront. And Stormfront is a little different from her comic, and I like Stormfront so far.
I'm glad they changed her up.
Yeah.
How's her character in the comic books?
If I remember correctly, he was a white Nazi. Like he wore like a red suit. He was like the Homelander, almost exactly like the Homelander, but like a Nazi. And she kind of has she has like this sort of like racist sort of streak to her. And she shows that when she in the second season when she kills the lady's brother.
Mm. Yeah, that like you get subtle like hints of it a little bit, like with just her outfit design, which I thought was cool, with like little bolts in the ear, like the SS bolts for earrings. But then she had this really dark, sinister side to her that you see like when she killed like the brother, and again just like making it out like, oh, there's a terrorist now in America. So again, just trying to get that secure that military contract, and also solidify her her role in the Seven as well, and trying to like angle Homelander out a little bit to take his top spot too.
Yeah. Yeah. They find Kimiko's brother, right, in season 2, and he tries to fight Stormfront, and as he's fighting her, she's destroying this whole like apartment, and she kills the guy for no reason. And I'm like, what was that about? And then she kills the rest of the family, and they just happen to be a certain skin color because they're in a certain neighborhood. And then when she's chasing the guy up the stairs, she does the same thing again. And it didn't click to me until the reveal that she is Liberty. And I was like, oh, with a name named Liberty, I think someone probably might be racist too. And she was apparently around the 40s. And it might be, I feel like there's something bigger with her that might have to connect to more things for Vought. And we'll see where that goes from there. Because once you meet the lady, she killed her brother. She was a little kid at the time. Now she's a full grown, she's almost like in her 50s or something. So you can see that the time difference is crazy. And they also show that Vought was still paying people off back then because they only got $2,000 for that guy's death. So
that was crazy when she said that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's it. No.
Yeah, that was shocking too. Like, but it matched the historical background behind that time period, and really like plays her character up more as building up as like a racist, and having like another, again, something deeper meaning behind like a more sinister side. But we can talk about theories too if you want, like in regards to like, from the beginning of season 2 when Mr. Edgar was with Homelander and basically talking about the founder of Vought, and where he's brought up in Nazi Germany and developing their first soup. So I know a lot of people might think that Liberty might have been the first soup.
Yeah, he may have brought her over the board, brought her with her, maybe.
I think Liberty was definitely first soup. I can't prove that, but
yeah,
like the signs are there. Like even the callback she said where she was in certain neighborhoods and she killed like just people that was there at the scene of the crime that she was trying to save or whatever. I didn't pick up on that. So yeah, I definitely think she's one of the first soups. And there's a bigger storyline and story arc where they're leading to something bigger. Like we saw glimpses of it with the most recent episode was episode 4, and with the dialogue she had between Homelander. So I think it's only a matter of time before they start really bringing that to the light.
Yeah.
Throughout like the run of the comic, like they had this other character. He kind of ran a comic book shop, and he kind of like broke a lot of like the backstory, like because it was a pretty long comic book run, so they had to like flesh out certain parts. So it's like a lot of backstory and lore to certain characters. So I hope they do explore some of like the stuff that happened in the past, and they already showed that with like Liberty. It shows that like the heroes things goes deep. It goes further back, like a couple years. I like stuff like that because it just makes like the universe that it's in just seem bigger.
Yeah, and then she's like she's kind of Homelander's worst nightmare. And I will talk about episode 4 because it's going to affect a lot of episode 5. Like a lot happened in episode 4 with a lot of love. Billy Joel was brought up. Billy Joel's song was brought up again, which is he was ever since they had to go on hiatus. He's been watching all his videos, and it's like We Didn't Start the Fire, which shows that because when the song was made. He was 40 years old, and the other person was 20 years old, and the 20-year-old was worried about what was wrong with the world, and Billy Joel said, "Oh, when I was 20, I was also concerned with what was going on in the world. And you could see that Huey's and all the boys, they're concerned with the superheroes of the world now, but also they found out that Liberty was causing problems even back then. So we didn't start the fire just represents that this episode. And the whole world thinking about there's always going to be a problem to solve whenever there's something to be concerned with. So I thought that played well with it. Also, there's a lot of love, like I said. Huey and Starlight, they got back together for a little bit on their road trip after Homelander threatened Starlight, and Butcher found his wife. And then I think Frenchie kissed Kimiko when she was after her brother's death, which was a bad move, but another fuck up.
Bad move, Frenchie.
He was wild
in the room.
Yeah, while she started crying, in the middle of crying.
Yeah, he failed too.
Yeah, but he has a side chick apparently, so so, and she took him back too, so yeah. But I do want Frenchie and her to be together, but it ends up like, ugh, none of them. And then also at the end of the episode, Starlight tells Huey, "Oh, we can't be together." Same with Butcher's wife.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I understand they're trying to protect each other, but instead of the guy saying it, it's the girl saying it. So it's a
She
little
shouldn't have went on a road trip, but she's on.
Yeah. It's so confusing. It's so confusing. So the next episode, I don't know if Kimiko is going to try to kill Stormfront, even though Frenchie stopped her. But what do you guys predict for the next episode?
I think the team's gonna take it more serious. Like Huey and the rest of the team, they're gonna they exposed Vought, but it didn't really make a change in a way. So I think they're gonna go harder now, and they're gonna try to hit the 7 more directly, and then eventually I think Huey and Starlight are gonna get back together, but they're gonna have a rough patch. But they're gonna, I think, it just makes sense for them to come back together. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're gonna go full on tactical mode on this one. So they're gonna start hunting the 7, any other soups. Maybe try to expose Vought a little more with more corporate angle, because I mean they didn't really expose them like Philippe said, but I feel like that they're just gonna have to go out there with force. And the big issues with that is they have Homelander, and then now they have Stormfront as well. So those are 2 very powerful soups in the back. But I hope that they explore a little more of Stormfront's background being Liberty, and going into that with the next episode before they reach the mid-season finale and everything.
I have no predictions other than what Philippe said. I think they're going to take it more serious, because the outing of the 7 and the serum didn't really do anything. It was just politics. So now they just pretty much got to strike them harder and find another tactic. But I think the way the show is, you can't really predict anything. Homelander could snap the beginning of the next episode and just kill 4 of the boys, and they might not even reference the comics after that. So
yeah, I think one thing did happen where near the end, I think Black Noir saw Butcher on the camera in the secure location. I don't know if he knows about it, where that location is, but I wonder if Black Noir might kill the wife accidentally, or might find Butcher. So that's something I'm scared about. We'll see if they fight. Or
I don't think he would want to do that. Especially, of course, he doesn't know that that's Homelander's son. But if Homelander's son, we still don't know the amount of power that Homelander's son has. So if Homelander's son was to get wind of that, it'd be catastrophic.
So that's our show. This is Subscribe Reviews. We will do more episodes, maybe some once the season is over, right before The Mandalorian comes out, we'll probably talk about Umbrella Academy. So we'll see. This is a longer episode, but we will see you next week.